welcome again to another episode of the Quarantine Leadership Series, where we hope to inspire and engage conversations about leadership. Today, I've got with me just a great friend who is close to retirement, Dan Dummermuth from the YMCA of Middle Tennessee. Dan, thanks for joining us today.
Great to be here, Cam. Good to see you as well today.
So give us a quick timeline of your career, when you started at the Y and to Nashville.
Well, I tell you, I got married and moved to Phoenix the next day, and so life as I know it started there, and so did my Y career. In 1986, I was with the Valley of the Sun Y. Our CEO was Gary Clark. Some people will remember him. But anyway, I was there 11 years, and then I came out to YMCA Middle Tennessee and opened up the Franklin Y. And I was here and then became a group VP and was here for about 5 years. Got recruited back to Phoenix, Valley of the Sun for a few years. And then I went to Colorado Springs, YMCA, the Pikes Peak region, as their chief operations officer and eventually their CEO. And then I moved out to back to Middle Tennessee Y about 7.5 years ago in early 2014. So that's a quick summary.
Yeah, anyway, that's great.
That totals 35 years, by the way.
35 years. That's a great career. And we've been fortunate enough to serve on a few kind of task forces or boards with YUSA, get to know each other over the last 10 or 15 years. So what you going to do? You said 7 or 8 more weeks for you to retire. So what will you do in retirement?
I'm going to be a free agent in regards to what I do. I'm going to say no to everything for 3 or 4 months and just really focus in on my family and some personal interests. And then I'm just going to get engaged in other ways. I always say, and you heard this before from others before me, and never really made a whole lot of sense till it happens to you. But I'm just I'm retiring from the Y, but I'm not retiring. I'm gonna, I got a lot of energy and my health is real good. So I'm just gonna get engaged in other things that I'm really interested in and just give back as well. So I'm excited to do that. And I'm gonna pick up a few more rounds of golf while I'm at it too. So.
Well, make sure if you're in North Carolina, come see me. We'll play some golf. We'll get you on our course. Hey, so 35-year career, multiple stops. I think it's a great sign that you've gone back to some stops, but what fueled you in your career? What's the fuel behind all that success?
Yeah. Well, one thing, I'm always glad that they have me back. That's always a good thing. I didn't burn any bridges but I say this, I'm a former athlete. I still dabble here and there, but every day I get up, it's like game day. And my staff that may be listening, they've heard me say that before, but that's what I love about the organization. What fuels me is just, the mission, of course, that's why we're all here, but just the complexity of what we deal with and never a day is the same, as we all know, but also just the people that are aligned with this organization, from the high quality of staff and volunteers and our donors and other, partners, stakeholders. It's just that's what fuels me every day, is and making the difference in the lives of people and the people that I just get filled up with being around every day. And so anyway, when you go home at night, and most every day, you always feel like you did make a difference, and you've learned, you've stretched and done things that you didn't think you could do, or have accomplishments as a team that you hope to do, but you follow through with. And that's what I'm very competitive as well.
Yeah.
And so that kind of fills my juices as well.
And, yeah. I can see that. And I think for a lot of people, just that loyalty to them, you want to make people proud on some respects. You don't want to let them down. I think on the other side, you want, especially these staff and volunteers around you. So that's great answer there. Who've been some of your mentors and people that have helped guide you in your 35 years?
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, there's been so many when, just people that come through your lives in different ways. But I remember I was a young program director in Phoenix, and Gary Clark, like I said, was our CEO. And I remember I wasn't sure if I was going to have a career at the Y or not. I just was getting started, and he invited me to go to lunch with the current board chair. He wanted to introduce her to some up and comers, the future leadership of the organization. And that was one that I thought, whoa, if at least he sees I've got some potential anyway. I wasn't sure what that was at the time. But I think that was just a moment in regards to, you got to always let staff know that, you see something in them and the opportunity for them to be able to grow. And that, there's people that believe in you. And so that was kind of one of those, Gary's always been a mentor to me, and saw how he worked with staff and made, developed a culture in which you worked hard, but you had fun, and you just had a great relationship. And he did that, brought the whole family together, not just the employee. That was really a great mentor. And Clark Baker, nobody raises money better than Clark. And I think just the culture he created when I was here in Middle Tennessee back in the late 90s, early 2000s, I've taken a lot from that as well in regards to, you got to make it fun. You all work hard, but you got to make it fun. And, same with the volunteers, and they're around you. Sir, we deal with some pretty complex issues, serious issues and all that sort of thing. But they're there to be able to, you're there to be able to make the community a better place to live, raise a family, but also to have fun while you're doing it as well. And I've always had that with me. A guy by the name of Mike Grady, who was CEO in Oklahoma City. He was my first branch executive.
Wow.
And I saw him as what he did with board governance and how to go about it professionally and engage your board and your standing committees, and how everything aligns in regards to your charts of work to be able to get to your priorities, and how to build a team and all that. So those are just a few. I mean, there's people that have come in and out of my career, but those are three that really stand out for me.
Yeah, that's great comments and great points in your life. I just see how important it is for us to, as leaders, to pour ourselves into young people that have talent, because, I think that was you said, I wasn't sure it was about a Y career, but that was a launching point for you, for us to tell young people, hey, you're important and you got a lot of potential. That's critical.
Yeah, I agree.
Good stuff. What's the best leadership advice you've ever got?
When you start getting towards the end of your career, you start to think a little bit more about things like that. And sometimes you're in the game, you don't have time to kind of sit back and think about that. But I think it's just being yourself. Sounds simple, but authentic leadership is just really critical. To be vulnerable as well, just to be who you are, and let people see the real, in my case, the real Dan. I mean, the title is thrown out there, but that's got a very short shelf life in regards to respect and the credibility it gives you. It's how you show up every day, and how you work with people, and how you're a part of a team, and then them understanding your role, but you understanding their role. And so I'm just big. I'm always been again, I come from a sports background, so it's a lot of just, developing a team and understanding what everybody's role is. And I just think that's really critical best compliment, and I hear this quite a bit, people that haven't seen me for a while or whatever, they'll say, you haven't changed at all. You're the same guy you were when I met you 20, 30 years ago. But to me, that's a compliment. Hopefully I've matured a little bit,
Yeah.
But it's just, thank God, if you can't be yourself, who'd want to go through your career or a day when you can't be yourself? And so anyway, I just think authentic leadership, people can see through you if you're not being the real you, and to be able to just, like I said, I think being vulnerable as well. And just when you don't know something, or you're, you show other areas in regards to your life and that sort of thing, that, we all struggle through it, and we all struggle through, our professional challenges and all that sort of thing. To be able to just talk about that, I think that's healthy.
Yeah, I think the vulnerability that's changed over a 35-year Y career. 35 years ago, they probably weren't giving you that advice, but I do think that's great advice, is to your staff, is to say, oops, I maybe messed up on that, or I would do it differently next time. And so, that's great.
We all make mistakes, that's for sure.
Well, as you think back on this great career of yours, any leadership highlights, or just what are a couple things that you're just really proud of?
One thing I was taught early on, and I take it very seriously, I've had different leadership opportunities where I've had to really exercise this, is just stewardship. You hear about it a lot, but I think even the pandemic kind of just really focused it even more in regards to the importance of delivering on your mission, but also being fiscally sound and very strong as an organization, because we need to be here for today, we need to ensure that we're here for tomorrow. And that's just something that I feel very strong about, and I'm very proud about in regards to wherever I've been. I believe I've left it in a better situation than when I found it. And I think that's in regards to, we're going deeper in regards to who we are as an organization, in regards to the return on investment for our donors, for the people that are paying their membership and their program fees. And we're not trying to be everything to everybody, and then we can actually tell the story that much better. And then the other thing it does is, when you're running a much more efficient, effective organization, you're able to fund those reserves, be able to pay your staff appropriately, to be able to invest back in your greatest asset, your staff, but also your physical assets, and put money away for a rainy day. Now, that sounds really simple and easy to do, but it's not. You got to look at your entire organization, your business model, and understand what that looks like now and moving forward. And I feel very, very, I'm satisfied in regards to looking back at my career, that I've really put that as one of the forefront of how I lead.
Yeah, I could see that. I brought, actually, for everybody listening, I brought a team, a couple of my volunteers, a couple of years ago. We went and spent the day with you and your team, and just was so impressed with the work y'all are doing in Nashville. So I could see that. I mean, you seem so steady and you had this great career. What about sleep? What kept you up at night? What did you worry about? Or did you?
The different situations we get put in during, public meetings, that maybe we're selling some land that they don't want us to, or difficult conversations. I've been asked that question many times. How do you sleep at night? And I sleep really well. I really do, because the process you go in regards to how you make decisions as a board or different committees or staff. We don't take things lightly, and it's been vetted properly. And now we know it's not going to make everybody happy, right? But you got to do what's best for the greater good, and what the core values of the organization are, to be able to look back on there. So what probably keeps me up, and if anything, I think about more probably than I've ever thought of something, is just what we're all looking at right now, and how we can be an organization that is really focusing on diversity and equity and inclusion. I think some organizations have done better, but I think it's so important that we're looking at it from every perspective in regards to how it's integrated into everything we do. And everybody's at a different level in regards to their understanding of what that really means, and also a different spectrum in regards to where they're at in regards to their personal perspective and viewpoint on that. So as an organization, I feel very, it's on my shoulders to lead this, but to understand the pace in which we're moving, and the way in which we're doing that, bringing data, bringing information, the listening that we're doing. And it just takes time. And I know some people want to be able to move a little bit faster, and some things we can, but there's others in regards to that we need to take a little bit slower. But I think we look at what we do internally, but also we look at how, as an organization, what is our role on the exterior side of things and looking out. And it's an exciting opportunity for our organization and our movement across the country, but it takes some time, because we're all in different places of the country too, in regards to the culture and the thoughts on that. So I think it's just, but I think about that a lot, because it's so important to our organization and our community.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I also think that, making decisions based on our values. We have an issue going on in our Y now, and I actually said to my executive team, I said, I'm gonna try not to make and say anything based on emotion, or personal issues. And I said, but I think that's a great way to draw it back in, or what are the values of our organization, what's important, and how do we stay true to the values as we flesh this issue out. And that's just perfect.
Yeah.
What about the 25-year-old that's, how do we share a 35-year career to them? Can they see it, one, but what advice would you give a 25-year-old today about the next 35 years of their life and the hopes for YMCA?
Well, you hear this quite a bit, is, do something that you love, and that's the one thing. 35 years, I've never really looked at it's a job. I get that, but I've always looked at it as it's just a way of life. And like I said, I get up in the morning. It's like I've always Sunday nights. There's some people go, oh my gosh, I got to go to work the next day. I've never had to feel that way. I couldn't wait to
I
go to
agree.
work the next day. Now, there's some things that are more fun to do than others. There's sometimes you have to have a challenging conversation or make a difficult decision and all that sort of thing. And but you're doing it for the right reason, and it goes back to the values in regards to the organization and what's in the best interest of the organization and the community and those we serve and all that. But do something that you love. And the why sometimes is not for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not a 9 to 5 that knock it off and all that sort of thing. So you got to understand the balance of your personal, professional life. But yeah, just do something you really love. What was the other question?
No, that was it. Just what advice? I mean, I guess I'd follow that up. Do you feel, you said it's more than a job. Do you feel it was a calling to the Y for you in any way?
Yeah, yeah, I kind of, I grew up as at the Y as a kid, but I never thought I'd work for the Y. But I remember as a kid, those were my best times. I had more fun, playing basketball and went swimming and you name it. I mean, I did everything at the Y. And so, but I thought I'd be coaching. I played football. It doesn't look, I lost a few pounds since I last played, but I thought I'd always be coaching football and probably teaching the rest of my life. And I just kind of fell into it. And I just been extremely blessed in regards to opportunities and you know, um, I always say though, if some people say, "Man, you've been so lucky over your years," just kind of things. Well, I always say it's amazing how luck. The harder I worked, the luckier I got. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
But you got to be purposeful about where you want to go too. I was never one to really set a lot of goals like I want to be this or I want to be that. I just did the best work that I could do within the different positions I was in and took on some additional responsibilities so I could actually have some exposure to those that may allow me to be able to move up. But I never really, I just kind of, like I said, just try to do the best job I could in those positions I was at and be very selective in regards to my next move that I knew it would maybe launch me to another opportunity as well, kind of that career path. But
good stuff.
yeah. A lot of people looking out at me too, like when you talk about mentors that would tell me, hey, you're not quite ready for this, or you know what, this looks like something that would be really good for you. And so I really appreciate them doing that too.
That's good. So think about us as a movement. What's your hopes for the Y movement, not just Nashville, but all of us together? What's your hopes?
Well, coming out of the pandemic here, and I think it's, the Y the USA's changed a lot just based on the way they needed to restructure, right? Well, I think all of our Ys need to do that, but with the Y the USA too, I think it's an opportunity for us to reset what we can expect from the Y the USA and what that structure looks like, whether it's regional or state alliances and the different, what's training and leadership development look like, a talent knowledge management committee, right? What's all that look like? And now we have new leadership coming in after Kevin. And I think it's an opportunity to really, really understand the role of the Y the USA and how we can come together as a more unified movement around really critical issues that our country is facing. Because most of the critical issues that I'm dealing with in my community, and Cam, you're dealing with your community, very similar. Now, there's going to be unique ones that we need to be able to deliver on, and whether we partner up or we go solo or whatever it may be, but we can unite together around some common good. I think the other thing is there's a lot of talk about it is just streamlining the overhead. That's we pay a lot of money and a lot of expenses in regards to all the different positions that we have and all that sort of thing, that if we can come together with some shared services or mergers, things of that nature, it just needs to take place. Because again, it goes back to just being more efficient so we can deliver on our mission even more so. So I'm hopeful that with the federated model, it might be a little hybrid federated model.
Yeah.
But good leadership. And Kevin's done a nice job too, but the next leader has an opportunity to take it to another level.
Yeah, great. I remain hopeful too for our movement. I got a few more years. I'm going to work some more. We're going to keep this thing going. But I appreciate you. So impressed and proud of you for 35 years that you work. You've impacted a lot. There's a lot of people. I always talk about the family tree. And you're started from a Gary Clark, but you've got wide branches. There's a lot of people in your tree that have spun off, even from Gary Clark to you and Clark, Baker, et cetera, on down. So be proud of the work you're doing. We're proud of you. And so thanks everybody for watching, and we'll get you on the next one. But just remember, subscribe to the channel and always lead with love. Thank you.